I've been using Linux for 6 months now, and today I want to talk about how I went from installing Linux Mint on an iMac to now using a Linux ThinkPad, porting e-waste, watching hour-long tutorials on Docker and Proxmox, planning out a home lab, committing to open source software exclusively, and rapidly descending into an online privacy and digital independence rabbit hole. Oh, and unlike many other YouTubers, I'm not a CS major, and I basically have no idea what I'm doing. So the video is structured like this. First, the evolution from day one to now, then I'll talk about self-hosting and home labbing, and then digital privacy. Finally, I'll present the challenges and things I don't like about Linux. Day 0. It all began when I found an iMac for $25 on Marketplace. I thought, damn, that would be nice for reading and writing. You know, basic stuff. My first project was to install a newer macOS via OpenCore Patcher. It went well, and I made my first video about it. That was the beginning of the rabbit hole, for my viewers were in agreement. Install Linux on it. Why not? Perhaps it'd be a fun project. So I went to YouTube. Linux. Of course, the first video I watched was Bog's Linux Experience. It was fun and he installed Linux Mint, so I decided to do that. Day 1. I made a bootable USB and began the installation, and to my surprise, it was actually very easy and took like 30 minutes. Not these several hours that I had anticipated. So I spent the next few weeks using the iMac more and more, eventually almost exclusively. I even made a little study corner with the Linux iMac as the centerpiece. Around day 14, my relationship with Linux went from a flirt to something more serious. I was really starting to like open source software as well, and for some reason it just felt great using old hardware. When I wasn't using the iMac, I was watching YouTube videos about Linux. I had replaced my nightly doom scrolling with browsing Marketplace, and eventually I found a free 2010 netbook. I swapped the hard drive for an SSD and installed MX Linux. The results were quite bad, but it was fun, and the comments were full of suggestions for new projects, so I did that. I kept experimenting with distros and even took the netbook apart to repaste the CPU. Around the same time, support for Windows 10 ended, so I decided to install Linux on my 2017 gaming PC. The problem was the GPU, an NVIDIA GTX 1070. NVIDIA drivers on Linux, especially for older cards, are rough. I installed Mint on it, and yeah, it was rough. Partly Linux, partly user error. So naturally I tried another distro, Bassite. It went terribly bad, but it was fun. At this point I was basically installing Linux on anything I could get my hands on. I switched to Linux for 30 days. I'm all in. I really was. In that video I talked about why I had started to like Linux so much. The biggest reason was quite simple. It's fun. But I also like the idea of giving a middle finger to planned obsolescence and the worrying privacy practices of big tech. So I continued my Mac projects, and I also tried Fedora and CachyOS for the first time, both of which were cool, although I still preferred Mint at this point. I switched to Linux for 60 days. I'm never going back. The title's a bit dramatic, but I meant it nonetheless. In that video I talk more about my switching to open source experiment, and it was also the first video of mine that got copied and plagiarized. Not so great, but I took it as a compliment. I also said in the video that I wanted to make my first server. Oh, sweet child. That's where that rabbit hole began. Then, in December, I made a big purchase. The iMac Pro, the M1 Air, and my now beloved ThinkPad. Actually, the ThinkPad was free, and ironically, it's the one that I use the most now. I switched to Linux for 150 days. I'm going crazy. I told my recent Linux experiments as horror stories. The horror was putting Linux on the M1 and iMac Pro. I managed to completely brick both machines. And I spent many hours even getting Mac OS to work again. And that leaves us here today. The underdog in this story is of course my ThinkPad, which I used 90% of the time. It's quite amazing just how far 8 gigs of DDR4 and an 8th gen i5 can take me in 2026. Granted, I primarily use it for uni stuff and writing and developing video ideas for YouTube. I now run CachyOS with the KDE desktop on it, and I'm really liking it. It's the small things, for example that it doesn't have an app store, because that really motivates motivates me to learn the terminal. And learning the terminal I find is very rewarding. I feel very cool. Home labbing. I really don't want to make up the number, but I've spent hours watching home labbing and self-hosting content, and I really want in. I want my own home lab now. Why? Well, here are some reasons. First, it just seems like a fun project, and a fun project for this channel. Second, I have a lot of computers and hardwares that I don't really know what to do with now. Third is digital independence. Instead of relying on Google, Apple and Microsoft for everything, these massive companies, you can basically run your own services at home. That's really cool, and it fits perfectly with my whole idea of using Linux and open source software in the first place. So you can host your own cloud and storage, backups, ad blocking, VPNs, even your own media server. And that last one might actually be the project that I'm most interested in right now. See, I currently use Apple Music, which is one of the few exceptions in my open source experiment. But I also own a lot of records, CDs, DVDs and Blu-rays, and the idea of having all that accessible from my own server is very appealing, especially with music. I've always enjoyed listening to albums from start to finish, but with streaming services I often end up just putting on a playlist instead. And just like when you scroll Netflix for 20 minutes trying to find something to watch, I do the same with songs, even though I'm just supposed to take out the trash. That's stupid. Listening to full albums also lets you discover songs that you would otherwise skip. Playlists can be fun, but they really offer a more fragmented experience. Think of it like this. A playlist is like taking your favorite episodes from different TV shows and putting them together. It's entertaining, but you lose the context. When you listen to an album all the way through, however, you get the full story, the artist's intentional curation. So the idea of building a media server where I can store my music, movies and shows and access them from anywhere is just incredibly appealing. But of course that's another rabbit hole. So, home labbing. I won't say that it's particularly difficult to make a server, although I haven't tried yet, but the rabbit hole looks more like this. Okay, I want a server, so now I need to know what Docker is, what Proxmox is, what TrueNAS is. And while learning those, I also need to learn some basics about networking and computers in general. And that's really the thing with Linux. Every project kind of opens 3 new doors. You start with something simple, like I want to host my own music library. But then you realize you need to set up storage, maybe containers, backups, or remote access. And suddenly you're watching 45-minute videos on Docker at midnight, even though this project only entered your mind 2 days ago. So that's really where I'm at, very much in a position of paralysis by analysis. I want to get started, but I keep reading and watching guides instead of just doing it. That's about to change, however, and here's my roadmap. For my first project, beginning soon, I'm going to make my own NAS. Then I'll move on to a media server, which includes digitizing some of all of my media. Once I've established those, I can delve into more niche projects, like making a Pi-hole for ad blogging, which also seems very fun. Still, I'm curious, what do you think I should do? I'm very open to ideas. Rabbit hole 3, digital privacy. I think I'll make a separate video about this, but basically I've also started falling into the digital privacy rabbit hole. And just like with Linux, it didn't start with one big decision, it started with small things. So switching to an open source and privacy oriented browser instead of using Chrome, trying a different search engine, installing an ad blocker, and slowly it expands. And suddenly you're looking into things like private email providers, VPNs, encrypted messaging ads, and custom DNS, which I don't even know what means. And of course, it's at this point you really begin to realize that these rabbit holes are interconnected. Linux led me to open source software. Open source software made me think more about transparency and trust. And eventually you start thinking more and more about where your data goes and to whom. Who stores your files? Who has access to your emails? What about when you're just searching for stuff on the internet? And at this point, I'm even considering getting a phone that runs Graphene OS instead of my iPhone, which should tell you something about how far down I am in this rabbit hole at the moment. So 6 months ago, I just wanted to install Linux on a $25 iMac, but here I am learning about servers, open source software, digital privacy, and making a YouTube channel. Okay, challenges and things I don't like about Linux after 6 months of use. 1. The first is just small elements of frictions, small annoyances. For example, I often revert to screen recording on my iMac since OBS and I haven't been on the best of terms recently. I simply cannot get it to work properly with my 4K monitor. There's probably a solution to this, but honestly, dealing with OBS is the last thing I want to do when I set out to film a video. So just small elements like this. It's also often that I have problems with my microphone or small bugs or whatever. It's not enough for me to abandon Linux. I still really like it, but it is just an accumulation of small annoyances. If you use Linux, I think you know what I mean. Right, and the single biggest challenge right now is editing. I use my iMac and it works exceptionally well with Final Cut Pro. But as you know, installing Linux on it has been challenging. So I thought, okay, I should just acquire a new PC that works well with Linux and is capable of 4K video editing. But here's the problem. I don't have unlimited funds, and with the stupid AI market right now, I can't really justify spending thousands of dollars for an editing PC. Especially when you can get an M4 Mac Mini for like $600, which would even be overkill for my editing needs. Also, I'm just very used to editing in Final Cut by now. It's the first editing software that I learned, and I have experimented with Kdenlive multiple times now, even trying to edit full videos. But just don't really like it. Therefore, it's simply not appealing to me to spend a lot of money on a custom PC to use a software that I don't particularly like. Still, I might just bite the bullet later this year and build a custom PC for Linux, as I do want to get back into gaming. I miss gaming sometimes. One thing I don't like about Linux is not really about Linux, I suppose, but it's the community and gatekeeping. Yeah. Welcome to the internet, Fokai, but still, since I posted my last open source video, there have been so many comments saying something like, do you actually read the code? If not, why are you using open source software? Is it just because it's free? Well, first, yes, and second, that's such a weird way to gatekeep open source software. No, I absolutely cannot read code. I just find the open source philosophy appealing, and I also suspect that you don't read the code for all of the open source apps that you use. I realize this is just me being a bit sensitive, but those comments just annoy me a bit. I'm only human and I don't go untouched from that stuff. That's also why I was a bit nervous before publishing my Mac versus Linux video. Yeah, so me being a snowflake is one of the things I don't like about Linux right now. Conclusion: my 6-month journey has been a lot of fun and I don't plan for it to end anytime soon. As mentioned, I have a lot of upcoming projects that I look very much forward to, and I hope you do too. So even though it's a rabbit hole that I like to be in, I guess. I've also been thinking about learning how to code, but I don't know where to start, and yeah, that's really it. If you have any suggestions, please let me know. Oh, and before I leave you, I want to briefly talk about my new second channel. The content is quite different. Here's a clip. There are few acts more horrifying than a parent killing their own child. It feels like something that should not be. The force that brought you into the world becomes the force that destroys you, that reclaims the life it once created. A terrible inversion, creation turning into destruction. This act is called filicide, the killing of one's own child by a parent. It would mean a lot to me if you gave it a watch. Of course, I hope you liked the content, but nonetheless, it would support this channel as well. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and a special thanks to Justin, Cal, Efraris, Jan and Lester, as well as the other members of the channel. You too can become a member of the channel if it's financially responsible of you. Right now there are 2 tiers with different perks, but in addition to these, all members are invited to join a VIP channel in the Discord. Okay, bye.